All right, we're here with Return to Popolocrois, or Popolocrois, or whatever.
Popolocrois.
Popolocrois, a story of seasons fairy tale. And so explain this to me. I'm someone who's never played this series before.
Okay, well, it's actually two series here.
Okay.
Popolocrois was a manga series that started in 1985 and was adapted into anime and games and novels, all kinds of things.
Okay.
This is one of the newest adaptations of Popolocrois. You don't have to know anything about the series going into it, but the best thing to know about it is it's like a very heartwarming fairy tale fantasy kind of thing. Very character-centric with a lot of very sweet, likable characters and some really good romance between Prince Pietro, the main character, and the forest witch Narcia. The two of them together make like the cutest couple in video games, as far as I'm concerned. They're just adorable, basically.
All right.
And yeah, obviously it is a very traditional kind of 90s era style JRPG.
Okay.
Has that sort of feel to it, epic story, but it doesn't go into like the emo stuff. It doesn't have long, drawn-out cutscenes. Instead, it's very succinct and to the point, but it says more in a couple dialogue boxes than most games do in a whole cutscene.
Okay.
So,
all right. So where am I now?
You are currently in the Zazul village, which is right off of the moors of Zazul. This is still a work in progress translation, unfortunately.
Okay.
You can actually get a little bit of story by talking to these guys if you'd like.
Okay.
These two here, their names aren't showing up, so you'll see a lot of not found under names,
Okay.
but their dialogue is translated.
All right.
Still a rough translation, still early, but it gives you an idea of kind of the whimsical, like weird characters you'll find in the game. This is not a game that minds just having fun and letting loose.
Okay.
Just having a lot of crazy, weird characters. Basically, you had a guy in your party earlier who had a pumpkin for a head, and these two were chasing him around and were like, "Come back, we want to take your pumpkin off." And now they're asking you to help them do that for them. And yeah, the girl with the drill on her head, whose name is Trixie, she is very stoic and straight-faced and seems to really like the idea of using her drill to get anything off of anything else.
Okay.
So, yeah, so it's got a very sort of whimsical feel to it, but it does also mix with Story of Seasons.
Okay.
I like to tell people it's kind of like Triple Triad in Final Fantasy VIII, where it's an omnipresent thing that you can do, is the farming elements and all that, but it's completely optional.
All right.
So if you don't want to farm, you don't have to, but if you do, it's there and you can sink a lot of time into it. When you're farming, your crops are actually, they grow in real time as you play the game, and you'll get a notice on the top of the screen that says Pietro's farm has produce to pick, or there's produce to water at Pietro's farm, or animals need feeding at Pietro's farm.
Okay.
So that way you can use the fast travel system, which you can get to by hitting Y button if you want to just kind of zoom around a little bit.
Okay, and then it brings it up on the bottom screen.
Yeah, it brings up a map on the bottom screen. And you can use fairy dust to fast travel anywhere you want, and that way you can tend to your farm. But if you go too long and your produce is not watered, it will not die. Actually, it just will stop growing until you go back and water it, and you probably won't get like the best produce.
Okay, yeah.
So it's not.
You got to be a little vigilant about.
You have to be a little vigilant, but it doesn't require that you stress out about anything.
Okay.
If you're in the middle of a dungeon, you can keep going and wait until you're done. So it's very relaxing in that sense.
No, can't save the world right now. Got a farm. So
exactly, exactly. But yeah, you can check out the farm. Yeah.
Go ahead.
There should be produce to pick now, actually. Be down to the southwest here. Yep, in this farm area.
Oh, whoops.
Yep.
And of course, first thing I do is leave.
Yeah, just right down here. Some of this, I think some of that looks fully grown. Maybe that.
All right, we'll give it.
Maybe not. Okay. Still needs some time to grow, I guess. But you can do a little bit of farm work if you want. You can press the L and R buttons to swap your farming implement.
Okay.
You can actually take a hoe to the ground and till the earth a little bit, drop some seeds. Same as you would expect in a harvest Story of Seasons game.
Okay.
You do get the ability to have farm animals as well. Cows will give you milk. Alpaca will give you fur, and chickens will give you eggs, which you can use in an item synthesis system where you can take any 2 or 3 items in the game, combine them together, and make like a unique item. There are over 600 items to find. Okay. So there's a lot of depth to that as well.
Alrighty. Get some water.
And the basic premise of the game is you have been you basically become trapped in this foreign country called Gallery Land, and nobody believes you're a prince. So you just kind of settle in this abandoned farmhouse, which is right near some farmland that's been completely corrupted by darkness. Nothing will grow on it, but there is a fairy in the ground, and the fairy calls out to you for your help. And when you answer, she shrinks you down to the size of an ant, and you get to actually dive into the farm and find all the dark forces in there and defeat them in order to make the land produce crops again.
Okay.
And if you continue to go around Gallery Land, meeting its colorful residents and helping out people by farming for them, or restoring their farms from darkness and all that, eventually, basically the goddess of the harvest, Galariel, will be revived, and she can use her magic to send you home. So that is your ultimate goal.
Okay. And so where would I go to
well, right
get
now,
started on
you
that?
probably are going to want to go actually where you were, like Zizzle Village in the top right corner of the map.
Alrighty then.
And when you're here, you can actually exit the village to the southwest.
Okay.
And you'll find some. You'll find a couple like small patches of farmland with a dark mist hanging over them.
Okay.
Those are ones you can dive into in order to fight some enemies, and like there's actually one up here, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see the dark mist hanging over it. But you do get into random battles. They are tactical based, so you can move and attack, and you'll get the red showing your battle area and where you can actually hit.
Okay.
You also do have quite a variety of skills, some of which attack in a straight line, some in a cone, some in a circle, and you also have double skills where two characters can join together and attack an enemy for more MP but more damage usually.
Right.
Yeah, Pietro has a ton of skills, including many double skills that are quite impressive. I believe you just chose, Fire Break is probably one of the more useful skills, especially early in the game. It does a lot of damage and hits a pretty wide area.
Okay. Probably not against a crab though.
Yeah, this early in the, this is a little bit later in the game, so the amount of damage it does, it's better against large groups.
Gotcha.
To take out, take a lot of damage on a bunch of enemies. The overall difficulty level of the game is pretty relaxed. It's not a very hard game. There are 2 difficulty levels though, which I believe we're calling Seedling and Prince. And yeah, you'll be able to see, this is still in Japanese because it is an early build, but the top option is to jump into the farm.
Alright, so let's jump in then.
This is you jumping into a farm dungeon. These are kind of like mini dungeons that dot the game. There are also regular dungeons that are kind of like your typical RPG fare. You've got your castles, you've got your caves, things like that. But you'll see these throughout the game every now and again, these farm dungeons that you get to explore. They're like miniature mazes with a boss at the end that you have to defeat in order to clean out the farmland.
All right. And what do you get for doing these smaller dungeons?
Well, in this case, you actually have to in order to advance the story. Because you have a special item known as the Forest Flambeau, which needs to be relit in order for you to get into the primary dungeon of this area. In order to relight it, you need to actually clean out all the farmland in the area. So that is your current goal at the moment.
Gotcha.
There are a variety of side quests in addition to the main quest, though. Right around 100 of them, in fact. So there's a lot to do in this game. The main story alone is a good 20-25 hours long, and then on top of that, there's all the farming elements, there's all the side quests, there's item synthesis, there's bug collecting, there's rock collecting, there's also there's a souvenir system where various areas you go to in the game will just be selling useless souvenirs, but you can buy them and send them back to your farmhouse to put on display. So it's just sort of a collecting element for those who want it.
Lots of stuff to do, lots of stuff to find.
And there is a relationship element like in other Story of Seasons titles, but it's a little different because in this case you have Prince Pietro and his canon girlfriend.
And he's a set character,
Narcia. So you're not actually trying to woo anyone, you're more trying to make friends with various girls who have been blessed by the harvest goddess Galariel. And by doing so, you gain various benefits to your farm. Like they'll help you out. They'll be so impressed with you that they'll help you out on your farm. And you'll get faster growing crops, or you'll get a better chance of gold crops. You'll be able to catch better bugs, things like that.
Oh, nope. Right there. There we go.
Next battle, I'd recommend checking out some of the double skills. They're pretty impressive. they're usually reserved for bosses, but
Right.
this is an E3 demo.
E3
so
demos.
best just to
Show it all off. Yeah. So how am I going to go about pulling those off? Do both of them have
just
to
go to
be...
skill, and you'll see a person's face
Oh,
next to
okay.
a lot of them.
All
that
right.
just means if that person's in your party, you can perform the skill.
Okay. And it works from anywhere on the map?
And it works from anywhere on, the map.
Yeah, that seems like it's good.
And Firebird's a great one. It's actually my favorite, I think, because it's so over the top. It's such overkill for these tiny enemies.
Yeah, for these
too.
little insects.
Yeah.
Probably didn't need to bring the Phoenix down on them. Yes, you did win.
But yeah, the hardest thing to show off in an E3 demo, and my favorite part of the game, is the writing. The characters are very charming. The story is like very well told.
Okay.
And I love that the characters aren't idiots either. If there's something the player has figured out, the characters have also figured it out. They're not going to waste hours being like, I wonder if this is the case. So it's really well done that way, and the romance elements between Pietro and Narcia are just very genuine and very sweet, and you really feel like they genuinely care for each other, they genuinely have one another's back, and it's not like Pietro saving Narcia, the damsel in distress, or anything. He saves her a few times, she saves him a few times. It's very reciprocal.
It's a lot of give and take.
Yeah. They have a very adorable relationship that I think we'd all like to have. So.
Adorable seems to be the right word for this game in general. You got little.
It really is. It's a great feel-good game to play if you just want to have a good day after you've had a bad day.
I can see that. What's the dog's name? Blue Wolf. Okay.
Yeah, there is no name for the wolf, actually, but there is a lot of story behind it.
Okay.
I think the boss is actually, if you go back out around that way.
Yeah, I'm taking the scenic route, aren't I?
Well, I mean, that is sort of the idea. And there's lots of treasure to find as well.
Okay.
And any dungeons you clear out, you can go back into as well.
Okay.
So you're able to revisit them for treasure you missed.
Okay, so and it doesn't disappear or anything.
And there are also a lot of optional dungeons you can go into. There's a fairy that lives on your farm who will send you into optional dungeons at your request, basically.
Okay.
So if you want to just keep on playing and keep on getting treasure and stuff, there's plenty of options to do so.
Kind of give you a means to do that. And when you're with the farming aspect, does that tie into the game in any way? I know you said it's kind of necessary for the game to continue, but does it like help you out in the combat aspect, or does the combat aspect help you out in the?
It's more that aspect? The combat aspect, you will get seeds that you can use for farming, especially in these dungeons because you're shrunk down.
I'm in a plant.
Enemies drop seeds, which kind of does make sense actually. But really, farming will get you produce, which you can sell for money, or you can use in side quests, or you can. Give it as gifts to the girls that are blessed by Galariel, so that they can increase their relationship levels with them. You can also use it in synthesis. You can combine vegetables with other vegetables to make soups and things.
Okay.
Or you can combine them with like ore to make monstrosities that probably shouldn't exist. I love the depth of the synthesis system. Like when I was translating some of the item names and descriptions, there's actually an item in the game called honey shoes. It's like, okay, somebody decided like, let's combine my shoes with some honey, and it's like, oh, I got some honey shoes. It's I don't see really what the point is in those.
Maybe
but,
they need to walk up some walls,
Yeah,
and then it's got to have sticky shoes. Maybe they like sticky shoes. You don't know. Since we're at, I'm assuming this is the boss here. This.
No. Oh yes, this is the boss.
Okay. Yeah, just making sure. So I'm gonna give him a little something extra.
Yeah, buffing is good in boss battles. They generally aren't that difficult because the game does still have a very relaxed pace. It's never meant to stress you out, but they do have a lot of HP and they do a lot more damage than regular enemies, as you would expect them to.
Okay.
So.
He's gonna breathe a little ice for us here, I think. Yep. This is a little more defensive than the other one is. Let's do that one again because that one worked well.
So I forget if I said, but the main quest does last around 20 to 25 hours.
Okay.
And I'd say you could easily double or triple that with all the added content or more. There's definitely a lot to see and do in the game.
And what do the different you said there were 2 difficulties. What's the main difference between the 2? Mostly just enemy numbers? Or?
I would assume I actually have only played on the harder of the 2.
Okay.
So I don't really know what the easier is like. This is the harder of the 2.
Oh, this is the harder of the 2. Okay.
So neither is particularly difficult.
Right.
It's still a very easy game in a lot of ways, but it's not meant to be like a hardcore RPG.
Right.
It's meant to be something to just play and enjoy. And your party members do kind of come and go as the story dictates.
Okay.
So it is very old school. It does have that sort of 90s JRPG flair
right. Okay.
in a lot of ways. But during the final dungeon, you are actually able to swap out party members as you please.
Oh, okay.
And after you beat the game, you're able to continue playing if you want to continue with the Story of Seasons elements or collect items or souvenirs or whatever.
So you can just keep going.
And you are also able to swap party members at that point as well.
Alrighty. There we go.
Got him.
Got him. All right.
And I believe the message that talks about the flambeau getting partially relit is still in Japanese.
It's in Japanese.
So yeah, my apologies on that.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah.
A work in progress.
Yep, definitely. The translation is currently about 50% complete, but not all of that is even in the game. A lot of that's still just on our computers back in the office,
just somewhere.
Yeah.
All right, and do you have an estimated release date for Popolocrois right
We're
now?
looking at winter.
Winter this year?
Well, winter hopefully before the end of 2015, but it might be the 2016
it might slip into early 2016.
Yeah. It's winter though. Either way, is pretty much what we're looking at.
Winter this year. All right. Well, thank you for everything.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
And good luck with the game.